You are a theater kid, are you not?
I sure am. What gave it away?
I know. I could smell it on you from miles away, for digitally. As I've been I've been your follower for a while. I've really enjoyed your yeah, I've really enjoyed your content, but I'm like, "Oh, this guy's a theater kid if I ever saw one."
You see
tell me your
all the theatrics in my content, I'm sure.
I think it was the video I saw when you were like running for your seedlings. With the drama,
Yes.
the stakes were high. As an actor would say, you really raised those stakes in that video.
The stakes are always high in the garden. I mean, gotta take care of my babies. I'm working so hard to make sure they're okay.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. So you're Brian of Red Leaf Ranch. How long have you been a theater kid and how long have you been a plant person?
Well, I actually got into theater in high school. Crazy enough, I played Seymour in Little Shop of Horrors in our high school rendition.
I
Suddenly
love that.
Seymour. That was me.
That's my karaoke song.
Oh my, really? Is it time for a duet? Are we gonna duet right now?
Are we gonna duet?
This
Is it
podcast is
true?
just a karaoke session now.
Are we gonna break the internet with a collab duet of Suddenly Seymour?
Star-studded duet. Oh my God.
You
But
know,
wait, the wild part about being in Little Shop of Horrors is it like foreshadowed my life now because I
tell me
didn't
more.
start growing or get into plants until like much later in my life after high school. So yeah, Little Shop of Horrors, this man literally finds an alien plant that crashes down
It's a plan
and
all about, well, Brian, because you haven't seen this before. I didn't show this to you the last time we did this interview, and we're not pretending, but for the first time ever, I'm showing you
oh
my
my
Venus
goodness,
flytrap.
look at it. And your purpurea. I've never seen that before.
Yes. So, speaking of Little Shop of Horrors, which is a show all about a man who cares for this crazy Venus flytrap, my
Yeah.
Venus flytrap is blooming right now.
My
That's what a good carnivorous
gosh.
plant girly I am.
Look at that. It's
Yeah.
thriving. And what I love about carnivorous plants in particular is notice the flower, how tall the flower is.
Mm-hmm.
It flowers super high up above the actual pitchers and the traps, so it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
accidentally eat their pollinators.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Most if not all carnivorous plants usually have a very long, tall flower stalk by design.
Really? That makes so much
Yeah.
sense to me.
Isn't that
Um,
wild? Like they're
yeah,
sentient, they're brilliant, they're like
you're sent.
so
I know.
intelligent.
I know. It's
Yeah.
funny. I've like always killed Venus flytraps. I've tried many times, but I recently just did a podcast interview on carnivorous plants and I got so inspired.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the fun parts about caring for plants is I've been doing this for 8 years and yet I'm a novice
Oh my
when it comes to
gosh.
carnivorous plants. So you're obviously an expert gardener. Are you growing anything new this year in your garden?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This year in particular compared to the last years, I'm very focused on growing more abundance than ever, but
Mm-hmm.
also with like kind of how crazy the times are right now and like the economy and
Mm-hmm.
food supply and things like that. I'm focused on growing a lot of things that preserve well, give an abundance, like winter squashes, potatoes, sweet potatoes.
Mm.
And yeah, I feel like I'm really honing in this year. The past few years, like I only started gardening back in 2020 for the first time ever. Really,
Really?
yeah, out of necessity because of the pandemic. That's really what started all of this. Initially, I moved to Tennessee to help my partner with his business. To just quickly segue back, with the carnivorous plants and Little
Mm-hmm.
Shop of Horrors, my partner owns a carnivorous plant nursery, and now I help him with this nursery, which is so wild.
Insane. So also I'm realizing we did no intro to this podcast and we just dove
Oh,
right in because we're fast friends. But you
yeah.
are in Tennessee. What is your
hmm
zone?
I'm in zone 7B.
B, and
Yeah.
you are the viral TikTok gardener, Red Leaf Ranch. So
Yeah.
Red Leaf Ranch
Abundance.
abundance. So Red Leaf Ranch is your garden, your homestead. So now that we've established you started in 2020, walk me back to what that looked like and how Red Leaf came to be.
Yeah, for sure. So initially, my partner and I met in New York City, of all places. So like we
Okay.
were like in the big city. That's where he started growing or turned his passion for these carnivorous plants into a business because he's been growing them since he was a child.
Okay.
But once he turned it into a business and it really exploded and took off, he had this need for more room to expand
Yeah.
and build more greenhouses and grow even more abundance of carnivorous plants. So him and his then business partner found this plot of land here in Tennessee. They moved down here before I did, but
Mhm.
I started traveling back and forth between New York and here to see him and see how everything was going. And I just started falling in love with country life and just how peaceful and quiet everything was compared to my very turbulent lifestyle in New York City, like just
Hmm.
being on the go all the time. I was pursuing photography, freelancing. It was just so stressful. So to get a taste of that peace, that quiet, that tranquility, I felt really called to come here, really for my own sanity and to like rest my spirit after I
Mm.
grew up in Chicago as well. So after like my entire life in a big city, I was just like ready for a shift. So in 2019, I moved here 6 months before the pandemic. No plan. It was just to come here and get out of the city, help my partner with this business, but I didn't really have a plan or any expectation for anything. And
And
then
at
the
this point,
pandemic hit.
you were a full-time photographer?
Yes, I was
Okay.
traveling back to New York to do my photography work every month or so, and that work-life balance was so much nicer than being like stuck in New York and like
Hmm.
grinding myself away. But then, 6 months, things were going so well, then the pandemic hit, and I was not able to travel and do my photography anymore. So I had to pivot or like figure out what to do with all this time and with the uncertainty of what our food system was going to be looking like. I thought it would be a wonderful, wonderful time to farm. We had all this
So
land
you're
to learn how to grow food. I'm like, let me give it a try because my partner also loves to garden. He is a die-hard gardener, landscaper, just cultivator of the natural world. But he focuses more on landscaping and ornamental gardens and flowers and trees and
mm,
shrubs, not really like growing food. So I was like, maybe I can give this a try. And I will never forget breaking ground for the first time and just feeling the dirt in my hands. And I speak about it in my book, which is crazy. I'm an author and I have a
I
book out
know.
now. But one of my fondest memories of the beginning of this journey is like breaking ground and feeling the soil between my fingers and actually catching a whiff of the dirt in
Mm,
my hands. Have you ever seen the show That's So Raven?
of course.
Do you know? Yeah, right? When she literally has a vision.
Hmm.
That's literally what that moment felt like. Like, as soon as I smelled the earth, I got this like vision of myself as a child in
Wow.
Chicago playing in my backyard. I was that kid that was like flipping rocks over, looking for bugs underneath the dirt, like, and it just transported me back to that very
Wow.
moment. And literally, as I felt the earth in my hands, I felt like I came home in that moment. And I haven't looked back. I've been gardening and growing food ever since. It
So
wasn't until a year.
you're a true victory gardener.
Yeah.
You had your first garden was a COVID garden.
Yes.
That's really impressive because the standard complaint about victory gardeners, or not about victory gardeners, but the standard complaint from victory gardeners that you see
Sure.
over and over and over again is that they try and then they don't have as much success and they fall off. But you're like the polar opposite where the victory garden is what started for you and now you've
Yeah.
blown it into this full-time lifestyle.
Yes. I still can't believe my life most days. I'm just so grateful the way everything transpired. Again, back in New York, listening to that calling of like coming here to middle of nowhere, Tennessee, of all places, and
Yeah.
everything manifesting in the way that it has. I'm so grateful I listened to that calling.
Yeah.
And I really love being this like source of inspiration and beacon of hope for any beginner, anyone trying to learn how to garden and grow food and just take care of themselves, their spirit, their families. Because I'm a testament that like if I can make it happen, so can you. And
So what did
considering I
that
was giving my all to gardening and growing, like failure wasn't really an option. I mean, I did fail a lot along the way, but I wasn't gonna let it stop me from enjoying the experience of having a garden, because now I'm like 5 years in. My life literally revolves around having a garden. I can't imagine not growing, you
So
know?
when did a garden turn into Red Leaf Ranch?
Oh, so I actually didn't start sharing all of this on social media until like a year after I was like gardening. Well, I shared it a little bit here and there on like Instagram and Facebook and like gardening groups just to see like who else was learning and starting a garden in the midst of this pandemic.
Hmm.
And just to share our progress. And I coined the term Red Leaf Ranch really because it's a play off of my partner's business. His business is Red Leaf Exotics, where he grows all
Okay.
the carnivorous plants. So I'm like, Red Leaf Ranch, Red Leaf
Cute.
Exotics, it'd be cute. So now as a collective, we're just like Red Leaf.
Mm.
But the it becoming what it has become online was really because of the community that we've built. I didn't have any plan or expectation when I started this. I just started sharing stuff, and my friend was like, "Brian, I love your energy. I love what you're doing. You have to try TikTok. And in my mind, then I was like, you mean the little dance app where all these little kids are
Mm.
just like dancing and bopping and weaving
Hmm.
on camera? She's like, oh yeah, but it's like it's so much more than that. I think you would really thrive on there. And after a few months, I finally caved and I started posting and oh my gosh, Maria, everything just happened so fast. I
Really?
still feel like I'm in the whirlwind of it all. Yeah, in May of 2021, I literally had like 1,500, maybe 2,000 followers on TikTok.
Hmm.
And by the end of that summer, it had reached over 1 million.
Wow.
So literally within like 3, 4 months, it just
Talk about abundance.
talk about abundance, talk about abundance, talk about abundance. It just all happened so fast. And yeah, I kind of became this like source of hope and inspiration. And, you know, in my life, I always had this like deep sense of like purpose and like doing something that was bigger than myself and wanting to better humanity, leave this planet better than I found it. And I thought it was photography at first, the way I was going to do that. But then moving here and having everything happen within the gardening and on TikTok and it being what it is now, it feels like everything that I've done has kind of just like led
Mm.
to this very moment, you know?
It makes sense you were a photographer because I was watching some of your videos today to prep for this interview, and I was like, how did he get the bokeh on the back of that video? Are you
It's
your
only 10 years of photography
yeah,
experience behind the camera.
your stuff is filmed very beautifully. So are you filming on your phone, your videos, or are you filming on a camera?
Yes, I'm filming everything on the iPhone.
On the
Yeah, she got a great camera. But really, as a photographer, one of my mottos, because I have quite a few, was it doesn't matter what you got, it's how you use it, right?
Yeah,
You can
totally
use
agree.
anything to create something super aesthetically beautiful, you know?
Hmm.
But I think the most important thing is like, how do you use this tool to show the world how it looks through your lens,
Yeah.
literally? And now, over the past few months, with all this whole TikTok ban fiasco, I have been like trying to segue into YouTube. So now I actually got like a really nice vlogger camera.
Mm, very
So
nice.
for the people on the audio side of things, I'm showing her my new camera.
Yeah, what's the camera for the audio people so they can know?
It is a Sony ZV-E10.
Yeah,
It is so cute. It is very portable, very light, great quality. So we're upping the quality this year,
love it.
which
Love
is
it.
so fun.
So it's 2025 in this interview. So you've had 5 years gardening.
Hmm.
Take me through each garden season high level and what they
Oh my
looked like for
gosh.
you.
Oh my
So
gosh.
what you learned, your successes, your failures, and how each one grew.
Wow. Well, the first year, probably the most important year because it taught me the most important thing is for anyone listening and you're going to start a garden, you are going to inevitably fail.
100%.
You're gonna fail, baby. You're gonna
Yeah.
kill some
Get
plants.
comfortable with it. Yeah.
Your plants are going to die. But it's very much a part of the process. And something
Mm,
that's really beautiful about gardening is you have compost. If you kill something, you just throw it in the compost and it becomes part of the life that you feed back into your garden. So your failures quite literally become part of your success in the garden.
it's so
That
poetic.
yeah,
It's so
I might have
poetic.
I might have written a book or something.
Yeah, literally and figuratively, right? Because it's the lessons
Yes.
that you learn on those fails that then you apply
Yes.
to the rest of the garden,
Yes.
and that feeds the success of the rest of the garden. So it's so beautiful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And something that I learned very early on or started observing early on is like there was so much more to learn here than just like growing plants. Because
Hmm.
like our gardens literally reflect back at us the ways that we need to be taking care of ourselves. We need to be taking care of our environment, our communities, our planet. It just I was learning so much on a spiritual level on the things we should be doing to care for our own spirit and cultivating that abundance within us, not just in the garden. And I feel like that kind of really plays into the success I've had in the garden in particular is I've been cultivating myself even before all of this started.
Hmm.
I feel like I'm in a very fortunate place where I'm very sound and very secure in who I am and very sure of the things that I want, the things that I desire, and the type of person that I am, and working in a way that is harmonious to the type of person that I am.
So tell
As much
me,
as I possibly could, because the garden, I mean, and
is
Mother
also
Nature will,
wild.
yeah, she's wild. She will throw stuff your way and be like, oh, I still have some growing to do along with my garden, you know?
But if you think about it, I mean, let's think about today's interview. Like you hopped on, it took us 20 minutes to actually start recording because we had so many technical difficulties. But
Yes.
isn't that because we both have gotten so comfortable with fielding curveballs in the garden? You know, I feel
Yes,
like,
you just gotta roll with it. You just gotta
yeah, you got to
roll
roll with
with
it.
the punches. I feel like one of the greatest things my garden has taught me is like relinquish control.
Yeah.
Because at some point, your garden is gonna get wild, and
Hmm.
there's only so much you're gonna be able to do to like manage and maintain. So I love that point in the gardening season where it just gets wild, and
It's
then you can just kind
chaos.
of. I teach a lot on growing things harmoniously and in abundance, creating a biodiverse ecosystem within the garden.
Hmm.
So at some point, once it gets wild, the garden just kind of takes care of itself because of that ecosystem you've created. So that's my favorite point in the gardening season where you can kind of just step back and watch everything unfold. You've kind of like played the artist or the composer, you've planted everything, you've put everything in place, and then you kind of just sit back at some point and watch everything play out, you know?
Yeah, the word steward, the conversation about how we're stewards for the earth, but like also for our gardens, like
Yes.
we're not. I asked Kevin, I was at the Northwest Flower and Garden Show and I asked Kevin from Epic Gardening like what's the best advice he's ever
Oh,
been given,
Kevin.
and he said he was like you're not growing the plant. Like the seed knows exactly what to do and knows how to germinate, how to sprout, how to grow,
Yeah.
how to fruit. All we're doing is it
Yes.
ushering it along its way, ideally creating
Yes.
ideal environments. So when you take yourself out of it, it's actually quite humbling.
Truly. Like at the end of the day, they don't really need us.
Yeah.
This planet has been existing and thriving for millions of years before humans
Hmm.
showed up. If anything, we don't need to get into
We're
that. But
messing it
humans,
up. Yeah.
we're kind of not. We're doing the complete opposite. But I think that's something that's so beautiful to see in the garden. It's like we can be such cultivators of creation and abundance and harmony. Like we have the potential as humans to do that. So to see what, like, of all the timelines of all the things we could have done on this planet, we could all be frolicking little fairies just like playing in gardens and forests and prairies and meadows.
Yeah.
The fact that this is what we made with all of the potential, like
Yeah.
this is really the best humans can do. So the garden really humbles us in that way and shows us like, wow, like this is so much bigger than us. So I really love that Kevin said that because that's so true. That's so true. These plants 100% know how to do, already know what to do.
I
We're
think
just kind
too
of
the
there to like help them not just like meet their potential, but like surpass their potential.
Yeah, I think too the garden awakens us in a way. I've done 300 interviews of this podcast. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had that have been about I was blind until I could see. Like
Mm,
I was plant blind. I didn't understand. I didn't notice the trees. Personally, this was my experience as a plant killer. Didn't notice
sure.
the trees on my street until I started caring for houseplants in my 500 square foot apartment in New York City.
Yeah.
And then I started getting into more houseplants. And then I got land and I started gardening. And then it became this whole thing. And
Yeah.
now I like really care about the earth. And before
Yes.
then, I never cared. Like I was so disconnected. And I think everyone growing a little bit of food, everyone growing a houseplant, everyone just connecting with nature on such a small in such a small interaction can really be a massive collective awakening. Not to like really get too deep on
No,
this podcast,
no, girl, let's get
but
deep.
yeah.
It needs to
Don't
get
you
that
feel like
deep because
that?
like there are so many, I'd say a majority of people on this
Yeah.
planet are asleep. They are
Asleep. Yeah.
unconscious to like how crucial it is that we pay attention to nature and the natural world that is existing in abundance all around us. We are
Hmm.
so disconnected from our planet. We don't even know like now what seems like I guess just kind of like the basics of like how plants exist and what they need to thrive and how the natural world, like there's this harmony, there's this balance. We are so disconnected that we don't even know what that balance is anymore.
Hmm.
And especially like in this materialistic capitalist era that we are in, like it's very humbling in the sense that like it really teaches you what is truly important, what is truly valuable.
Mm.
And yeah, it just wakes you up to like all the things we don't actually need that we've been conditioned to think that we need, you know?
100%.
So there's a lot of like kind of, in a way, sacrifice that comes in working with the land and being a steward and gardening. And I hope people have it within them once they start learning and caring for plants that they're willing to make those sacrifices along the way. knowing that those sacrifices will actually benefit them in the long run.
Yeah.
Um,
It's such a individual experience too. Like everybody's timeline is so different. You
yes,
can it can be something you're connected to from a young age and continue to be connected. It can be something in the pandemic, you plant a seed, it blows your mind, you're a changed person.
yeah,
And for you, it sounds like you really dove off the deep end into like a fully blown realized garden in a year. For some
yes.
people, it's an herb
Start
plant
small, they
rather than
said.
just,
Start
yeah.
small, they said.
I know. It's always the
Build a
quick garden.
5,000 square foot garden.
Right. Oopsies. It's so interesting. And this is where I want to circle into, abundance and gratitude are such big parts of how you educate.
Yeah.
And I think really what sets you apart in terms of your brand and definitely a reason why I follow you, amidst all of
Oh,
the TikTok gardeners. So where did this abundance is something you say or scream and like, or sing and probably almost every one of your videos.
yeah.
When did you kind of root into this, abundance awakening, seeing it in front of you and why are you so committed to having this be such a big part of your journey?
Well, it's funny because it really came about not necessarily of my own design or
Mhm.
creation, but because of my communities. Um, in the beginning, during that point in my life, 2019, 2020, I was in a very big crossroads in my life where I was shifting away from this like mentality of lack in my life, not having enough, not being enough. Especially being a freelance creative, there's so much that gets piled on you that really wears you down as
Yeah.
a creative individual, your confidence, your individuality. So I was really in a process of shifting my perspective to one of abundance, really thanks to the teaching of Abraham Hicks. Amazing.
Ah, of course you are.
Abundance, like literally
Abundance, of
abundance,
course. Okay.
abundance. So I was
Shout
in
out to
that
Abraham
era.
Hicks.
Shout out to Abraham. You
Yeah.
are literally doing sources work. We love it.
Yes.
But I was in that point. I was like I was cultivating that at that point in my life. So abundance was just already at the forefront of my mind and I felt it manifesting within me. So when I started sharing everything in the garden and more specifically the harvests, like what better representation or manifestation of abundance than a
Mhm.
basket full of fruits and vegetables that you grew yourself with love and hard work and passion and drive and all those wonderful things. So I remember I shared one video of a harvest and I was like, wow, look at all that abundance. And people ate
Mm.
it up. Funny enough, then I posted another video of a harvest and I didn't say abundance at the end of the video. And people were pressed, Ria. They were like, you made me stay here for 3 minutes. And I
To
was
not
waiting
hear
for
abundance.
to not hear you say abundance. I was
I know
waiting
that.
for the abundance. And
Wow.
that's really when I knew like, oh my gosh,
This is a thing.
this is a thing now. Like I am now like they see my content and I am like synonymous with
Mm.
abundance now. So now every video I post, I make sure to say abundance in there somewhere. And it's just
And your
become
book,
such
obviously, Gardening for Abundance. Yeah.
gardening for abundance. It's just like I mentioned earlier, I can't believe this is my life. I'm so grateful. Like I can't like to be synonymous with the word abundance. I couldn't ask for anything more. It's such a gift. And to hear all of these wonderful comments on a daily basis of people saying like I hear you say abundance in my head all the
Mm.
time. I go to the grocery store and I get a basket of produce. I say abundance. I pick an apple, abundance. Or even if they're like not necessarily doing the best in the garden, like they harvested 2 pods of bush beans. They're still saying abundance. I still heard your abundance in my mind, in my head.
So
Or
this
people
is
commenting like their kids are going out into the garden and saying abundance.
so cute.
It's so precious. It's so precious. But it's like, it's just so special. It's so special. It's just work that's bigger than me because I'm planting a seed in these people's lives to cultivate that abundance in their lives. And hopefully if they truly tune in and tap into it, it's just going to manifest more of it, not just in a garden sense, but like in other aspects of their lives because it's all interconnected.
Yeah, I think what I want to unpack a little bit more too is this concept of, particularly in the garden, but also in our life, right? Because, like you said, our gardens are a mirror, everything, they're just reflecting shit back to us on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when you don't have the basket of tomatoes, or your tomatoes get the hornworm outbreak, or you do only have two measly pods, because there is still abundance there. My
Yeah.
argument is, and I think it's your argument too, it's abundance isn't volume, it's really a mindset. You can
Yes.
be looking at a garden full of dead plants and still have an abundance of lessons to learn, an abundance of,
Yes.
it's really a way to walk through life. So how have you seen that, in maybe in your garden yourself, but also maybe in, feedback that you've gotten from your community?
Yeah, like you said, abundance is a mindset. It's a lifestyle. It is a perspective. It is really making the most out of any situation, good or bad. It's really how you perceive it. We don't really have control of what happens in our
Mm,
lives, but we do have control over how we react to it. And that has just kind of been like the guiding force in my life. Like I've always seen everything, if it doesn't necessarily go my way, I just see it as redirection or an opportunity to learn from those errors, those mistakes, or really just sometimes it's just something random that happens,
mm.
in life. But having that perspective to like not give up and push forward and learn from that situation to cultivate abundance at a later time in your life, that's really what it's all about. And also listening to yourself and listening to your intuition and knowing that like redirection is so important. You also have to make sure you take the time to like really process things that have happened and really sit with it. Something that I've really grown to appreciate with gardening. I mean, growing up in Chicago, I used to hate winter with
Mm.
a deep passion. Now that I'm gardening and I literally work with the seasons, I have such a deep, profound love and appreciation for winter now. Because
Yeah.
there's so much beauty and abundance in the growing season. But here in Tennessee, the growing season is really long. It's from like mid-March. I mean, we're starting seeds in January, but really from mid-March to like mid-November, end of November. So that's like most of the year.
Right.
And if there's one thing we know about gardening, it's laborious. It is so much work. It takes its physical and mental toll on your body. By the time October comes around, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta harvest tomatoes again? Okay,
Mm.
let's go. So by the time winter comes, I'm just so ready for that restful period to just like take everything in, process, allow my body to rest, and let whatever abundance is going to come in the future, literally let those seeds be sown in that winter of my life, and just allow it to cultivate when the time is right. So it's really important to just like listen to your body, listen to your spirit, know when the time is right for you to take action and or not take action.
Yeah. I'm in a bit of a season of loss personally, and I've been meditating on seeds underground before they sprout, like
Oh,
actually how peaceful it is, even when
yes.
you're in the darkness, like how you can allow there to be peace, and
Yes.
that it's quite necessary for this like
Yes.
stillness and this darkness before the rapid growth.
Yes.
And yeah, it's interesting. I'm just like giggling, not giggling, but I'm just kind of in awe talking to you because I had a very similar experience. I lived in New York City and no, I mean, postage stamp of an apartment. And then I moved to the Catskills. So I moved to 5 acres. I also had a country
Ooh.
moment, 5 acres
Ooh.
in the Catskill. My audience is probably giggling, like hearing you tell your story, being
Abundance.
like, wow, they're the same. And that's where I really rooted into the seasons. And I don't think,
Sure.
no shade to New York City. I love New York City. I'm a New Yorker through and through,
Sure.
but you are so disconnected to nature, and
Yeah.
you have to be, right? You're in a season of spring, summer
Yeah.
eternally, like in New York. You have to hustle so hard to live. It's so hard to live comfortably there. Like it is so, and I,
Yes.
I was a creative in New York too. It's
Yeah.
brutal.
Yeah.
But you're also in this state of fight or flight. You're in this state of survival the entire time. Then you
All the
move to
time.
the country, you experience winter, you experience a slowing down. You think you're like, oh, this is how our ancestors lived. Like, right. Even,
Yeah.
and now I moved to 10B. I'm in Florida now. I moved from
Oh
5B to
wow.
10B. So I don't
Wow.
have winter
She's in the
anymore.
tropics now.
I'm in the tropics, baby. I'm in houseplant. That my houseplants get to live outdoors now. It's crazy.
I
But
love that for them and you.
yeah, I love that for them. They're thriving. They're thriving. And it's so interesting because even now when I don't have the winter, like it's sunny and 80 degrees outside, I'm still like, wait, but I'm wintering. Like what does that
Yeah.
look like?
Yes.
Even if I'm not like, even if my outdoor, it's such a powerful shift
Yes.
to connect. And you don't, I mean, it's very ideal if you can experience the seasons, but you're not even really experiencing the four seasons and the quarters, with yours.
Yeah. Like our winter
70
here in Tennessee is so mild
is
compared
like,
to,
and
it's
it
like
sounds
three
like it's
months of
pretty
winter
quick.
compared to
Yeah.
six, half the year in
Yeah.
Chicago. And in
Totally.
Chicago, it's like life-threatening cold. Here, it's
Yeah.
like it rarely drops below 20 degrees. And if it
Yeah.
does, it's like for like a day or two.
I'm jealous. You're really in the sweet spot. That's a sweet
And B
spot.
is such a sweet spot, such a
Yeah.
sweet spot.
So
So grateful.
what is your mindfulness practice? Because something I loved about your book is, yes, it's a book on gardening. Yes,
Hmm.
you talk about starting seeds. Yes, you talk about three sisters. Yes, you talk about all these gardening things. But you have
Yeah.
like full chapters on mental health and wellness. So what does your
Yes.
wellness practice look like in the garden?
Yeah, they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things I learned moving to the country and just living this lifestyle is like slow down
Yeah.
and be okay with slowing down. Funny enough,
Mm,
the biggest culture shock wasn't moving here and not having everything at my fingertips the way you have in
mm.
New York, not being surrounded by millions of people. The biggest culture shock for me was learning what to do with all of this time all of a
Yeah.
sudden.
Yeah.
All of this time with myself, all of this time with this quietness, with this
Yeah.
solitude, and trying not to feel guilty about not doing anything.
Hmm.
Like capitalism was still kind of rooted in me because like I'm
Of
still
course.
working a lot now, but it's a different kind of work. It's far more in alignment and in balance with who I am and the way I like to work and exist. But really learning how to like take those moments, appreciate those moments, and now I prioritize those moments. Once the garden season really picks up, it can be overwhelming, especially
Yeah.
with how much we are growing here. It can be a lot. So I make it a practice to really take moments for myself to slow down and nurture the garden in a way that aligns with me and my slower way of being. Given if you don't have the time, by all means get irrigation and like find a way to like water your plants because it does take time. But I personally love to hand water my garden. It
Mm.
is literally, it's a big garden. It can take me hours to do it, but those are precious hours between me and my plants
Oh.
and my spirit. Like we're just, it's quiet, it's peaceful. Hearing the water trickle
Mm.
on my plants, having that one-on-one time with my plants is so special because I get to individually check every single plant.
Mm.
But most importantly, it is a meditative moment for me to just sit there and water and hear the world waking up around me because it does happen pretty early or in the evening. But most of the time in the morning before the heat of the day sets in, that's the ideal time to water a garden. But making that, prioritizing those moments of like slowing down, resting, or just observing and being present rather than just kind of allowing life to take you wherever it's gonna take you. Like you gotta put your foot down sometimes and be like, no, I'm gonna take this time for myself. Set boundaries with life and
Yeah.
the world and say like, no, I'm taking this time for myself. That's why I've grown to love winter. Now it's not just gardening with me. It's like this is a full-fledged business. You know, I'm also a full-time content creator. We host workshops. We host guests here a lot. I'm flying out to like events here and there. Like, so much happens within a growing season that by the time
Mm.
it hits, I'm like, November 15th is here. I'm clocking out
I'm
for
hibernating.
3 months and hibernating. Nobody talk to me.
Yeah.
You know,
Very
like
similar to like,
I prioritize that those moments for
mm,
myself for sure. And on top of that, I find so much joy in gardening, but I also make it a priority to actively seek out joy in my life. Not just like wait for an opportunity to kind of just like come to me. It's like, no, I kind of have to create this space or time for me to cultivate joy, whether that be hosting dinner parties with my friends. Or, I mean, me and my partner literally have a karaoke machine and we spend hours singing all day long, just like letting out and just expressing and just being and having fun and just being
I love that.
human and just, you know, experiencing that kind of joy, you know, or going to visit a botanical garden, like taking those moments, whether you need to rest or experience joy, just
I'm
knowing what you
curious.
need to prioritize in your life and doing it.
I'm curious as a content creator how you set boundaries for gardening, obviously, is your full-time content
Hmm.
creation. And then how do you set boundaries around also gardening for your own personal enjoyment? Because that's definitely something I struggle with a little bit.
Sure, sure. Well, I'm actually really grateful that within gardening and farming and growing food, like my form of monetizing it is creating content rather than like selling the produce.
Mm-hmm.
I really commend farmers and people who sell at market because like I find so much joy in just knowing that like I'm growing this for me, my family. I can have as much fun and experiment as much as I want and create content doing it. So I don't
Mhm.
necessarily have to have like the most beautiful, refined, finished product to like sell at market, and
Yeah.
make money that way. That is such a different level of like work and
Mm.
pressure. And you also have to produce so much more in order to make enough to sustain
Yeah, the
having a
stakes are
farm.
higher.
The stakes are higher. So for it to be in content creation, I feel like just having that gratitude towards it really helps me keep going
Mm.
because there are definitely days where it's like, oh my gosh, like I want to harvest and just like make lunch, but it's also like, should I film that?
Should I film it? Yeah,
Should I film it?
literally
Should
everything
I
I
film
do now,
it?
I'm like, "But I should probably film this," but, like, I'm in my underwear, like, do
Yeah,
I have to put some
yeah.
pants on to do this?
Seriously,
Totally.
or sometimes I'm just hungry and I want to make a meal. Like I don't have to
Yeah.
film every little thing. So I don't. I mean, I'm luckily I'm in the space I am now versus when I first started making content where like every moment counted. There was so much
Yeah.
momentum. There was such a wave. Like I didn't know how long this was gonna last. Like it's such a fleeting moment. I
Mm.
was like in when I went from 1,500 to a million followers that summer. I was bustling. I was
Yeah.
hustling, Maria. I was
Yeah.
literally posting 3 to 5 videos a day
Wow.
for like 3 months straight because the momentum was high.
Mm.
And I had not been a content creator prior to that. My focus was photography, taking hours to refine a single image.
One image,
Now
right?
here I
Totally.
now here
Very
I
different
am, a
cadence.
content creation machine making videos like crazy. Now I have a far more balanced routine with creating content. I know I understand my formula, my way of creating content. And something I'm really grateful for too is like in the garden space. I mean, unless it's like not even with recipes. I usually wing and make up most of them. I don't really like conceptualize or like script anything. It's all
Mhm.
just happening real time. I'm just
Mm.
capturing the excitement, the joy, the discovery as it's happening. So that's something I'm really grateful for versus like I know other kinds of creators like chefs or actors or even dancers who have to rehearse for hours to like get a
Yeah.
dance right before they post it, It's like I can
You
literally
can
just
shoot
go
from the
outside
hip
with
a little bit more.
literally I can just go outside and see what's happening.
Yeah.
But now that I've like really settled into where my platform is now, I definitely establish far more boundaries than I did in the beginning. Like I will go outside and film something today, tomorrow I won't. And
Mm.
also now that I'm like venturing into YouTube and making long form content, which is a
Whole
whole
nother
other
thing.
a whole other thing. But what's really special within that is from one long form video, I can make like 3 or 4 or even 5 short form pieces of content from that one piece of content.
Mhm.
So now it's like it just kind of becomes like a sixth sense
Yeah.
on how you create content and how you can diversify it for all the platforms that you post on. Yeah, it's not always just like waking up and going. There's like
Mm.
a strategy to it for sure. But those boundaries are so important. That's
Yeah.
why for 3 months, November to January, even February, I'm not posting at all. I don't do
Yeah.
anything because once the season hits, I'm
It
very
picks
grateful I
up.
have my season because
Yeah.
I have my time for it and then I have my time for rest. So that really helps.
Totally. So, what does Red Leaf look like now? And what will Red Leaf look like in a year from now? Like, where are you taking this full-time brand that you're
Um,
developing?
where I see Redly Freely going is outside of the digital space. We are working so hard to cultivate this physical space
Yeah.
to be a place where people can venture to disconnect from the chaos of the world and
Mm.
reconnect with themselves, with nature, with a like-minded community. So we've been hosting events. We've been doing like these huge open houses twice a year where people come from all over to just like tour the gardens, tour the greenhouses. My mom busts out the grill and starts cooking for everyone, and just
That's
really having this be
amazing.
a hub of love, of joy, of abundance, and using that to plant seeds so other people can cultivate that wherever they are.
Mm.
So that's really become the focal point of where we see Red Leaf going. Yeah, not just teaching people how to grow food anymore. Now we're like really trying to like cultivate
Cultivate
and
community.
nurture that community,
Yeah.
especially now. Oh my gosh, like every day feels so uncertain and there's like curveballs coming at us every single day.
Hmm.
The only way we are going to get through whatever is coming is with community, is
Hmm.
with one another and sharing that love and that joy and cultivating that love and joy through it all.
Yeah. I mean, nature's number one rule, like the only way nature exists is because plants live in community with each other. And
Yes,
that's something that
literally.
I think we forgot in the
Not just
pandemic.
live in community, thrive
Yeah.
in community. Thrive. Literally, it's like it's a deep network of interconnections, and everyone depends and relies on one another and nurtures one another. And there's like this beautiful, like imperfect balance. Like it's
Mm,
I feel like that's something else that kind of capitalism has and this era, this age that we're in, has really conditioned us to want and desire is this sense of perfection,
yeah.
and it really stops people from doing anything. They get paralyzed by the imperfections, or what is it called? Analysis paralysis,
Mm-hmm.
where they
Totally.
literally want to like be a master at something by studying and researching it so much before even pursuing it, when really what you should have just done is do it and like learn along the way.
And learn along the
Um,
way. Yep.
yeah, because you have this like very unrealistic expectation now all of a sudden of what you want this garden or this experience to be, and the moment it doesn't hit that, you stop or you get
Yeah.
crippled by the sense of failure, or yeah, I guess failure that you feel along the way, but
Well, if
it's not
people
worth
want to,
stopping.
yeah. And if people want to start, they should get your book, right? So please
Yes, please.
tell us where we can get your book's name, where we can get it, and also where people can find you should they want to join your abundance journey.
Yes. Well, for us, you can find us. We are Red Leaf Ranch on every platform. We also have our website, redleafranch.com. You can find our book on our website, redleafranch.com, and it shows you all of the places that you can purchase the book, whether it's Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Blackwell's for like global distribution. And yeah, or something I really love to encourage people to do is go to your local library and ask your local library to stock it. So that way, abundance is available for the whole community. And
I
we need our
love
libraries, and we need to encourage our libraries so much right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was like one of the first things I did when I moved here, moved to my new
Yes.
town,
Oh,
was
I
go
love
find a
it.
library. All right. Well, we'll link everything in the show notes. Everybody grab your book. Also, your book is really beautiful. It's beautifully shot, beautifully
Thank
organized. The photos are
you.
beautiful. Yeah. Well done.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Authors Club. Yeah. What a delight. What a delight.
It has been such a joy. Thank you so much for having me, Maria. I hope we can talk again.
For sure. For
I love our
sure.
conversations.
Growing joy.